There are a couple things I will say that I think are very important on whether or not this move can work or not. Coach Carroll is still a coach, as I said, from an enthusiasm spot to how much he still loves the game, that he can certainly still electrify a locker room and build that atmosphere. And he is actually a guy, despite being older, who is well accommodated and suited to the younger players in certain respects of things, because these younger players want to be kind of allowed to do their own thing. They don't want to be force fit into how you want to force fit them into do it. And he creates that culture, that player-friendly kind of situation where he gives you an opportunity to be who you want to be. And then he thinks on the back of that, he's going to get the most out of those kind of players. And this is a very, I think, modern idea in looking at these NFL players or just football players in general in that way, is head coaches tend to be more of, let me slam them in the box. I want them to do what I want them to do. They'll do it my way or the highway. Coach Carroll, I think, has a little bit more openness on that, which is well suited, again, back to the modern player. And so really the key on this one comes down to really one real important thing at the centerpiece of it. And it's the reason that he's not still here as a Seahawks coach. Schematics. Both sides of the ball schematics. In that there are heavy arching pushes that Coach Carroll has to both sides of the ball that affect how those sides of the ball can run, that need to be changed as we move into the modern era. And when you start with the offense, I actually think that this is a really good time for him to come back for his philosophy, because we've seen now the running game coming in, re-emerging back in the NFL over the last couple of years, seeing more 1,000-yard rushers. And that this seems to be a bit of the way the game is kind of going back a little bit too, as we see more of the cover two shell stuff that's proliferating the league, more running of the ball. This is going to help a guy like Coach Carroll in being able to lean into what he wants to do in his scheme, which is remain balanced. So that part's going to be really good. There's not really an adjustment that needs to be made on the offensive side of the ball from Carroll's perspective there. It will be really mainly the willingness to target the middle of the field. He's going to inherit Brock Bowers, who just had one of the great all-time seasons for a rookie tight end in NFL history. We know in Seattle that targeting tight ends here in the offense during Carroll's time was not always the highest priority. And so will he be willing to target the field more than he was here with his offenses, where very often you'd be right around 32nd in the NFL in that rate. And then this, of course, makes you very predictable. We're going to get to this on the defensive side of the ball, but this gets you very predictable then in how defenses can now play you, and that they know you're not going to be there, so why defend it? But that's really as much as anything, I think, offensively. He already showed at times that he was willing to bring on 3 wide receiver sets, to mix that up with the 2 tight end sets, to do certain things to modernize the offense. It just does come down to a little bit more of the target middle of the field. He's obviously going to need an offensive line that's beefed up and built right, but I would expect that they're going to do that in conjunction with a couple of other moves. Defensively is probably where there's going to need to be more of a change from Coach Carroll. And this is coming down to much like that lack of targeting the middle of the field. Coach Carroll likes to be at the back end of the bus as far as the blitz rate in the NFL goes. He does not want to blitz. That's not his thing. This then really puts a heavy emphasis on the front 4 to get it done on their own, because he's not even going to run a lot of like simulated pressures or games up front. Not even that. You're going to get the front 4. What you see is what you get. And this works if you got the dominating front 4 to make that happen. We've even seen guys like Robert Saleh able to make this happen when he's had the dogs up front to make it happen. But you need the dogs in full to make it happen. If you just have one dog and a guy over here who's kind of a dog, and then you got a couple of other parts that are meh, it doesn't work. You end up with a quarterback who ends up with a lot of time in the pocket to pass. And that then gets kind of combined with the other part of this that needs to change, which is the secondary stuff. Because stop me if you've heard this, Coach Carroll's secondaries when he was here with Seattle were the 32nd rate on a yearly basis in the NFL in what they changed pre to post snap in coverages. So what you saw prior to the snap is always what you got post snap. And it was, again, at a 32nd rate on a yearly basis. So teams could always predict, if I am a quarterback and I'm walking up to the line of scrimmage and I'm looking around and I see off coverage, and I see the strong safety up in the box, and I see this free safety up over the top sitting in center field, I know that I'm going to probably be getting cover 3, and I'm likely to then get cover 3. So if I know that, then I can run certain routes that attack that very coverage, can I? So I can predict it's going to happen. I can adjust at the line of scrimmage to the routes I want to run if we haven't called it out of the huddle. And that's a hard way to run defense, being that predictable. And it was a place that Coach Carroll himself, even 2 years prior to being let go, said, man, we've been a bit arrogant in our ways. We got to change a bit of this approach. And he just didn't change it. So this is the place that'll be very much, I think, the whole key to this whole deal with the Raiders situation working is, does Coach Carroll really wrap his arms around some of the modernizations that have happened on the defensive side of the ball, maybe up a little bit more of the blitz rate, or if not wanting to blitz, at least run more of the simulated pressures, willingness to maybe change some of the coverages on the back end, pre to post snap, disguise some things a little bit more often. I think that this is the place that he's really got to find that adjustment to find success here. But he's got to have a lot of other boxes checked. He's always has. And I think that he is definitely going to have that Raider locker room motivated in a way that many prior recent Raider head coaches have not. That, I think, will be undoubted. So congratulations to Coach Carroll on that. And hopefully he can hopefully he can, within that, find some success here on this final chapter of the coaching career, which has been a marvelous Hall of Fame coaching career, college Hall of Fame coaching career, NFL Hall of Fame coaching career. The man's had an epic run, no doubt about that.